Hello, Tom Levecki here with the latest edition of the new Theory Podcast. And I've been very blessed to have a ton of great guests, not just the notable ones, but ones that really gave their success journey as we unpack their mission. And this particular one is somebody I've been trying to get on the podcast for a while. His name is Dave Meltzer. If you haven't heard of him, and he doesn't need much credentialing, trust me, he's the CEO of Sportsman Marketing. They're basically one of the largest and leading sports and entertainment marketing agencies on the planet. He partnered up with Hall of Fame quarterback Warren Moon. I mean, he's a best-selling author, chairman of the Unstoppable Foundation. But what's interesting is we'll probably talk about today is he is obsessed with, I think obsessed in the lens, just with the pursuit of happiness and giving back and really being a genuine person. Here's what I love about him. On the show Elevator Pitch, Dave, before we jump in, is he says no, and he says it in a meaningful way. And he's not like a jerk about it. He's not a bad dude. But we're going to get into how he got to where he is and then what will make him give us the right advice so we can reach his status. So, David Meltzer, welcome to the New Theory Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm terrific, Tom. Thank you so much for that nice introduction.
It's the least I can do. And again, Dave, you have reached the heights and pillar of success, but it wasn't always that way for you. So, how did you start out, and what were some of the earlier obstacles in your career?
I started out with a single mom and 6 kids in Akron, Ohio. And so my only struggle was financial. Didn't grow up in great wealth. My mom was a teacher, had to work 2 jobs. Sometimes we were struggling just to eat. But that struggle allowed me to build a great desire for wealth. And although at an early age, that desire for wealth was aimed at buying my mom a house and a car, I have been and journeyed to enlightenment or understanding of how powerful it is to have the ability to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun.
I love it. Now, I'm also one of 6 kids. Where are you in the pecking order?
I'm high middle, so 3rd kid in.
Love it. Okay. So you've done a lot of interviews, and this guy is amazing. So I want to kind of talk to the more deeper, more meaningful stuff. So you've had a really strong career. You've had great partnerships and so forth. But what was an inflection point where, you had the desire to be wealthy, you worked your butt off probably more than anybody else, but what went right? How did it become scalable? I want to know that inflection point where one day you worked your ass off and then day B, it just really kind of skyrocketed and hockey stick for you. And what were the principles and background behind that?
Yeah, it was really about what I call the power of 64.
Okay.
And I don't talk about it much in interviews. So my original book, and it was the basics of how I got there, is that I use math to achieve. When I say I use math, what I did is I looked at people and I said, the average person works 8 hours a day.
Okay.
And they're of an average effectiveness in what they do and an average efficiency. So what if I worked 16 hours a day at twice the efficiency and twice the statistical success 7 days a week? So most people, their average 5 days, 8-hour days, and even in those 8 hours, they have a low level of efficiency and a low level of effectiveness or statistical success. So what I did about the time that I shifted from playing football, which was going to be my vehicle to millions, what I realized in college, I was playing college football, that I wasn't going to be able to do that as a profession to make millions of dollars. I used that math. I was going to work twice as many hours, twice as efficiently, and with twice the statistical success to beat the job system, right? To make more money than anyone. I didn't have to be more talented, right? I was going to beat them with math. And in fact, people ask me today what my greatest achievement is, and I always tell them that my college football career is my greatest achievement, not because I was good, right? I was your average Division III football player, but because that's the closest I've ever come to living to my potential. right? I only had so much potential as a football player, and
Correct.
that's the closest. And I did it through math. And so once I switched over and studied this way in law school, worked this way when I got out of law school, I was a millionaire 9 months out of law school, and I catapulted through acceleration and exponential growth into be a multimillionaire by the time I'm 30 and had the ability to retire in my early 30s.
That's amazing. And you guys got to check out Elevator Pitch, and we'll talk more about what he is. Obviously, he just literally does this stuff because it's his passion. But you're gonna have me to check out whatever he is currently talking about. But right now is one of the things about you when I see you on Elevator Pitch, you say no, and like business, nice guys finish last, and all this other kind of stuff. You're a sincere person, but yet you say no, but like you give a crap. So like, how do you balance that? Hey, I am a good person and I'm going to say no and not maybe get into bad business decisions and let that kind of good personness, if you will, affect your business making decisions. How do you delineate that?
That's how I created the show with Entrepreneur, and as an executive producer of the show, I wanted to be Shark Tank with soul. I
Yeah,
wanted it to be an abundant show. And, saying no to people isn't necessarily a bad thing,
correct.
right? If you say no to people, you can save them a bunch of time. What's a really bad thing is to lead people on, to not call them back, to not give them an answer or give them their why or give them mentorship advice, constructive advice that can help propel them through acceleration and exponential growth into the areas. Not, don't give people introductions to other people. So although a company may not be ready for me to fund them, it's too early, doesn't has too high of a valuation, it's just a good idea but not a good business, I have all this opportunity to be of service. And even though I'm saying no, I always look to the positive of, okay, I am not in a position to invest, but here is how I can be of service. Here is how I can provide value. Here is how I can help you.
So, and again, there is a parallel to Shark Tank. And what's one of the deals, if you're allowed to speak to it, what's one of the deals you're more proud of from even just a financial or even from a spiritual standpoint that has been spawned from the show?
There's so many different, we've funded over 30 opportunities, but one of my favorites is a milk company that it's breast milk, but there's so many people in need of healthy, safe breast milk. We have, women who work, we have ill people, we have the LGBT community, all are in a diminished capacity to provide real breast milk to infants.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I invested in a breast milk pasteurization process and company that is extremely profitable, and also is helping all of these different people, including more babies that will grow up to be healthier, stronger, and more productive and accessible to others. The other one that I really like is a company called Furnish, where it's for millennials, and they have basically subscription-based furniture. So the
Wow.
average millennial moves so much that they can always have their furniture picked up, delivered, picked up, delivered, and renew furniture every time they move. It's a great business.
That's awesome. Any one or two deals that you still kind of, again, I know you say no for a reason and well thought out, but any one or two, you're like, darn it, I wish I pulled the trigger on this one.
Yeah, and it's not my fault, because a lot of times it's very nerve-wracking. We give people 60 seconds in an elevator to
Yeah.
pitch their idea, and some of the best opportunities, we don't get a background on it, right? We just hear a 60-second pitch.
Wow.
And I had an opportunity, and the guy came out, and he was so upset when he finished, because he's like, well, I've done $2 million of revenue in the first 6 months of launching. I'm like, and maybe you should have told me that in the elevator, because I don't care what the company is, I would have opened the door.
Correct. Correct.
It's remarkable. So I think the biggest ones aren't necessarily that I said no. And I tell people this all the time, because they get upset when we don't open the doors. And I am open to mentor these people afterwards. And invariably, I start off by saying, first, this is a TV show. And second, I only had 60 seconds with no background to figure out whether I wanted to invest or not, or listen more. And those two factors were in play when I decided not to open the doors for you or not to invest in you. So, it's a lot of fun. I think the importance of it is to understand how to stimulate interest and to get out of the elevator, then how to transition interest and share a vision to get funded. So there's no other show on earth that does that. And we have captured and been extended out for season 4 and season 5 in August. It's been extremely successful, over 40 million viewers. So, we're very happy.
I love it. It's one of the shows I watch religiously. So the Dave Meltzer from 27-ish to 33-ish, you kind of built the foundation for your empire versus the Dave Meltzer now. How do you run your business differently, better or worse than how you ran it versus then?
Well, I run it out of radical humility now. It's the only real difference. I'm obviously more productive and accessible to others. I'm more efficient, effective, and statistically successful. I don't work as many hours, ironically. I actually have come up with a new definition. I don't believe in work. I believe in activity you get paid for. Nice. I believe everybody has 24 hours of activity, including sleep is an activity, and we need to maximize the production and accessibility of that activity. And I focus in on the amount of activity I can get paid for so I can help others. So I am a much more seasoned leader in those. I think also, saying no. I've learned, as we just indicated on the show, I was all over the place as a young leader. I didn't have the backbone that I have now in order to say no and to know what I want for the benefit of others.
Very nice. Best day of your life.
Say that again.
What was the best day of your life?
Best day of my life. Wow. Coming home from the Masters, that's a hard question. No, I'm teasing. It's funny because for me, the best day of my life is the day I got married. I have 4 children, but I wouldn't have those children unless I got married. And the best decision of my life was marrying my wife. And that to me is the best day of my life. I'm truly, truly blessed because I feel very sad for people that off the top of I always tell people you should know what you want right off the top of your head, but you should not be a person that could off the top of your head just tell you what the best day of your life is, because I have so many best days of my life that I sat there trying to figure out what it was. And I chose that one. I should say the day I was born, because my life's been so wonderful. None of it would have happened unless I was born.
Nice. Now, conversely, worst day of your life.
Wow. Worst day of my life was when I was in bankruptcy, a lawsuit. Wow. I was working for Lee Steinberg, the most notable sports agency in the world. I was at Tampa minor league stadium watching the Yankees in a spring training game, and my wife called me because the judge had made an error and in the case, which later got rectified. But my wife was awoken while I was in Florida to sheriff's cars and moving trucks, and people. And my 3 daughters were there, and they took everything out of my huge home. Every single thing, while the sheriff was treating my wife like a criminal, telling her, as she's saying, don't do this, this is a mistake, you're going to have to put all this back. And he was telling her like a criminal, we never make mistakes, everybody always says that. And 24 hours later, after they just finished moving everything, 24 hours later, when they were having to move everything back, it was one of the better days of my life. But it never will take away the scars and the trauma. And to me, the stroke to my ego of causing that much pain for my family, it was an incredibly bad day for me.
Now, I'm assuming you also recovered. How much time does it take? So somebody go through some really crappy time right now is listening in. How much time does it take to recover like that from a financial perspective, reputation perspective? Long. It takes a minute, but usually how long does something like that take to get through?
Yeah, it's interesting. So the emotional side, I was in recovery emotionally before I lost everything, right?
Yeah.
So 2 years before I actually lost everything, I was already on my road to recovery through gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration. Um, but the financial side, that was the most interesting thing. When I finally, lost everything, over $100 million portfolio, I was almost already recovered. Remember, I'm someone who has an unconscious competency to make money. I was a millionaire 9 months out of law school.
Wow.
When I went out of law school, I knew nobody. I never really had a real job. I literally had $100,000 in loans and didn't own anything. And to have the capability and confidence at 25 to be a millionaire in 9 months, being a millionaire again wasn't going to be a problem. I had a ton of experience, a ton of friends, a ton of relationship capital, a ton of situational knowledge and dummy tax that I paid. All I did was got laser focused on making money again, not to buy my mom a house and a car, but literally to survive. So it only took me weeks to start making serious money again. And the financial recovery was way easier. The biggest recovery that I had to go through emotionally was forgiveness. I still carried projection, blame, shame, and justification. The lawsuit, the people that weren't nice to me, that blame me. Uh, in my mind, I had forgiven them, and I told people that I had forgiven them, but emotionally, that energy wasn't there. And the reason is I never forgave myself. And so it took about 9 years,
Wow.
9 years after I went through the emotional, what I call a quantum shift. It took me 9 years to forgive myself so I truly could forgive the other people. And once I took accountability, knowing, what I did, right? And I took complete accountability and said, I need to forgive myself because I attracted this to myself and I need to learn from it. That's when I truly recovered.
Wow. Now, hopefully you don't have to, but can you break bread with one or two of these people, or you're not forgiving? How
Oh, yeah, that's a great story. I'm glad you asked that. So, one of the guys that caused me the most pain was a neighbor. And man, my wife would, attack him. And it was like a neighborhood war because, it was millions of dollars and we were ruining each other, just, it was awful. And, through that forgiveness, I saw him at a football game and I went up to him to thank him, right? And
Wow.
tell him, thank you so much because my life is so wonderful. Without you and what had happened, none of this would be possible. And I wouldn't have learned and grown. And, I'm accountable for what had happened. I'm sure you're accountable for what happened to you, but I'm accountable for what happened to me. And I want to tell you, thank you. And he wasn't in the same place as me. I think he thought I was going to hit him or shoot him or something. He was terrified. But it's really funny because even in my own company today, there's so much transition going on, and I can see so much blame, shame, and justification in either side of people that are moving on or new people coming in. And it's so much fun for me because it's like, I know that I'm accountable for what happened, right? I know every single person that I have to let go or leaves here, I'm the person accountable for that because I didn't provide the opportunity that would have, made them happy.
Wow, you're truly a good man. So, what are you working on to wrap it up? But I just want to focus on you have a lot of great stuff going on, obviously elevator pitch and so forth. But what are some of the top of mind things you're working on that you like to share with our audience so they can get to know you better?
Yeah, I'm building my brand. So I'm very blessed to have a top 5 business podcast called The Playbook. I
Nice.
have a new book coming out, Game Game Time Decision Making, and it's going to come out July 15th with McGraw-Hill, and that's a great book. I speak around the world, and exponentially, that's going extremely well. All types of areas from sports, esports, technology, motivation, aspiration, even spiritual talks, just getting booked out all over the world, from the Maldives to Costa Rica to Canada to all over the United States. I work on the media side. I have great content at David Meltzer on Instagram, my LinkedIn. Charitable wise, I'm the chairman of the Unstoppable Foundation. where I built 2 community centers last year. I'm also the head chancellor of Junior Achievement University worldwide, and we have the 100th anniversary gala May 2nd. There is no shortage of activities in my life. I have 4 children that are most important to me. 2 of them one going to college, one in college, and I am enjoying the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of my potential.
I love it. And has being so it seems like you've always been a great father, but it seems as if you're working theoretically a little less and you're putting your energy into your children. Is that one of the motivations early on? Like, hey, let me make my money earlier so I could be more involved? Or is that more serendipitous of the success?
I have to be completely honest. Like, the motivation for money was ego-based. Even though I could tell you it was so I could buy my mom a house and a car, so I could tell you I could provide to my family. It was so that I could tell people I bought a house and a car for my mom. I could tell people what a great father I was. I could tell people how much money I gave to charity. I could put my name on things. I transferred being a manipulator, a trader. When I say trader, I mean I gave to get.
Yeah.
Right. I would give with conditions and judgments.
Correct.
So I was trading. My life now, I everything comes through me for others, starting with my wife, then to my children, then to my mom, then to my immediate family, then to my community, then to my country, and then to the world. And every single thing comes through me for the benefit of others. That allows me to have exponential growth and acceleration in my life, to expand. You know, the universe and God, they never promised you there'd be no struggles.
Correct.
And some people have misguided faith. They believe that God has given them the faith to get through those struggles. I don't believe that at all. I believe you have to take it a step farther. If all you think the power of the universe or God has given you is the ability to get through the struggles, which are guaranteed, just like your ego is guaranteed, it's part of the amygdala in your brain, the fear and flight, you're completely off course. The faith of the universe, the faith in God, not only allows you to get through things, but most importantly, it allows you to grow, to learn from the struggles, to expand what you can do, to become more powerful, more full of light, so you can empower others to do the same.
Wow. I had high expectations of this podcast, and I appreciate you taking the time. And this is probably what I believe it or not, David. I don't know about you. I don't listen to my own podcast that often. My voice,
right?
But this is one that I'm going to probably play every morning. And David, I truly appreciate David Meltzer for being on the New Theory Podcast. Thank you, David, so much, and we're blessed to have you.
Thank you, Tom. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to meeting you. If you need anything, let me know how I can be of service.
I will do. Be well, my friend.
You too. Take care.